Good evening, and welcome to this reflection and meditation for Christmas Eve night. And like the reflections and meditations that I'm going to be leading in the days ahead as well. So there's one every morning from tomorrow at 8 a.m. for 3 days. And then there will be some further ones as you see on schedule. This is a chance for some peace and for some stillness and for some reflection and meditation. So I'm not going to just talk for 10 minutes, but rather guide us in our own thinking and reflecting on this time of year and this unusual time where it's harder or impossible to be with friends or with family. So you are very welcome. And I think the live chat might be working as well. So if you're here live in the session, then feel free to put a comment and I'll see if I have a chance to react to that. So on this night before Christmas, or Christmas Eve as it's also called, I thought that we would reflect on the way that light can arrive in our lives in many different ways, because the idea of light is an important idea about Christmas itself. And so in the next few minutes, I wanted us to reflect on the way that sometimes things come like a light maybe being switched on, or a light in the distance in our lives, or something so bright it's like the bright light of day. It may be that for each of us, it takes a moment for us to reflect on moments in our lives or moments in our life experience where there's been a change, a discovery, something where things have lit up. And I just want us to take a few seconds now to think about when there's been a shift in the light on our life or in a situation of our lives. So let's just be still and reflect on that for a moment or two. Can we think of a time where the light changed for us and we could maybe see things differently or make more clearly, or where light was breaking through to make a difference? I know sometimes in the life of a university, both for those of us who are learning and for those of us who are teaching, the desire for us to have breakthroughs, discoveries, new understandings is important. So in some ways, our learning processes are about light shining on topics that we didn't understand before. And some of our best teachers are those who can bring light to bear on topics and circumstances and situations we don't understand previously, but suddenly we can see. This can happen also, though, in many areas of life, well away from the university learning process. Maybe still at uni, though, in the way that we have conversations with our friends and our peers, or just in the experiences that come with daily life. I want us to think for a moment about the way that light plays its part in the Christmas story and in the narratives around Christmas. Of course, we see everywhere we go at the moment lights, Christmas lights, lights on the trees, like the tree behind me here, lights everywhere. And on the Christmas cards and in any scenes of the Nativity, the Nativity is the word we often use for the scene, but also for the moment when the birth of Jesus is celebrated. And in the scene of the birth of Jesus, light, well, sometimes light's depicted maybe shining around his head and his mother's head and his father's head, Mary and Joseph. But most of the light depicted in the Christmas story isn't really about shining on that special family. The light comes from more distant realms or heavenly realms, from angels, from a star, or the light brought by people traveling a long distance to visit the Holy Family. In the story of that first Christmas, the birth of Jesus, light isn't obvious or apparent into the birth. It's just like another ordinary birth, and in nearly all respects it was a family group having a baby. It's one of the most ordinary things that can happen. It's the circumstances around it where light shines. In the narratives we have, it's the shining of the star, or the bringing of light, or light being brought to bear on a situation, or the light of an angelic visitation, mysterious light. But in some ways, the light is still hidden away. We don't really know what's going on. If we go back to the story of the first Christmas, nobody knows what's going on. And when the local king, Herod, hears of what's going on, Herod is more frightened than anything and wants the young male children killed to stop something changing. So there's quite a lot of darkness. The light doesn't come directly onto the place of birth or to the birth of Jesus. The light is around, but it's not clear what's going to happen next. Of course, we know now in terms of Christian history, lots happens. But if we go back to that first moment, yeah, there's some light, but it doesn't mean very much. So I want us to come back to our own reflection as we think of that first Christmas, where it's not clear where the light is, or what the light's for, or what the light signifies. Sometimes in our own lives, we can reflect and think, oh yes, there was a real light switching on moment where we realized that something that was less clear suddenly became really clear. There are other times, though, in our lives where we are left uncertain what the light is shining on, what the light is for, or if there's any light at all. And so I'd like us also this evening to reflect on that question for ourselves. Have there been times, or is there even a time right now, where we sense there's some light, but we don't really know what's going on or what it's for or what it means? Let's think for a few seconds about that. Times when it's not clear what the light is about, but still we notice it's there. I don't have much more to say this evening, but I do want to invite you back at 8 a.m. on Christmas Day tomorrow morning. And you can watch again as well. These will be auto viewable afterwards. But then on Christmas morning, on the 26th, on Boxing Day, and on Sunday the 27th, all at 8 a.m., I'll be leading us into some further reflections But tonight, whether the light feels obvious or apparent, or whether it feels quite gloomy, I think in the stillness of this late evening, or wherever you are and whenever you're watching this clip, in the stillness, it's worth thinking of 3 star moments from recent days or even from today that we can list. It may be simple things, the smile of a friend or a message from a loved one. If we can think of those 3 star things and stay with those as we end this clip, let's end by moving to that question. Can we think of 3 star things or things of bright light that we can be thankful for today? I hope you can think of some, and be in touch if you want to via the chat or another time, or by emailing chaplaincy@sheffield.ac.uk, and I'll be sure to get back to you. Thank you so much for joining in. Good night and a happy Christmas.